clearing close in the forest you'll find a fabulous banquet, a fairy ball. If you close your eyes and you open your mind, the veil disappears and you'll see it all.
Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese, and today I am finally back on here sharing yet another extremely creepy story that is probably going to freak you out and cause you to be looking behind your shoulder when you go pee in the night. But it's a true story. It's very, very eerie, very, very creepy, and I figured that since I took a couple days of not uploading and my last video was unrelated to paranormal, I would come back with a bang and give you guys something really, really spooky. Now, I've said this a million times before, and I'll probably continue to say it a million times again because it's just so amazing, and that is having this channel really, really opens and sparks so many conversations with people. Like, I get so many emails, DMs, tweets, meeting people in person, just so many conversations that start about the paranormal, about different people's experiences. And they're conversations that I would never ever have had if I hadn't had this channel and if I hadn't met you guys and if you guys hadn't reached out and told me your stories. And as you guys know, I have a specific email in my description box that's meant for you guys. It's not for business inquiries, it's not for any of that jazz or work stuff or anything like that. It's just for me to communicate with you guys. And that email gets super backed up. I get tons of emails a day. It's really hard to filter through them all. But we go in order and we try to answer absolutely everybody. And that was when I met a woman by the name of Corrine. Now, Corrine sent me an email and she was the sweetest and she said so many kind things, but then she proceeded to tell me about things that she's been enduring in her farm home, and particularly in her farm home cellar. So when I heard about this, I reached out to Corrine. I asked her if I could call her, if I could talk to her. We talked on the phone and we got down to basically what has been going on with her, and she gave me permission to actually share this story and share it with you guys because it's so incredibly freaky and is going to leave you shook. I can't believe I just said shook like I'm like in with the cool young teen kids. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into this story because I'm really excited to share it with you guys, and it's a good one. So sit back, relax, maybe turn a light on, and let's get into this really creepy story. So I'm gonna do my best to tell this story as true to everything that Corrine shared with me. I'm also gonna try my very best to leave out details that will be more personal to her and her family, but the main things that you guys really should know, I'm not going to leave out. So Corrine has a family farmhouse, and this farmhouse has been passed on through her family. So her parents previously owned it, and then it was gifted down to her. So Corrine ended up inheriting this house back when she was like in her early 20s. She didn't specify the exact age, but she said in her early 20s, when she got married, she ended up inheriting her parents' house, and they couldn't handle the work of the farm anymore, so they actually ended up moving to something much smaller, and she took over her family farmhouse with her husband. Now, she does say that the farmhouse was very, very old. It is very old. She still lives there. She said it is like a very old farmhouse, but most farmhouses do look very creepy. Even if they aren't creepy, even if they aren't haunted, they can sometimes look that way. But regardless, she didn't really judge the paranormal activity of the house based off of how it looked because all the farmhouses in that area looked the same. So they moved in there in their early 20s, and she said that she's about 33 now, I think she said. I hope I got that right. I know she's in her early 30s now, so it's been like over a decade of her living there. So her and her husband lived there for quite some time. And she says that she doesn't even remember specific paranormal activity happening. She never remembers anything strange happening. She never thought that their house was haunted. But she was continuously trying to get pregnant. So they tried and they tried and they tried, and they really, really, really wanted to have a child, but it was seeming that it just wasn't going to happen for them, and doing it any other route was just unaffordable to them, so they really had to either get naturally pregnant or it just wasn't going to happen. She said that she tried with him for 9 years, all the while they were living in this farmhouse, and she said that nothing really strange or paranormal was happening during any of this time until she got pregnant. So she said she was in her late 20s when her and her husband finally got pregnant, and they found out that they were going to be having a little girl. Now, right when that started to happen, she said that's when things in this farmhouse kind of shifted. It was like the energy just shifted. And what she means by that is she told me that it wasn't even necessarily evil or creepy, and like big major things weren't happening, but little things were happening that she was noticing. Like they would hear footsteps in the night, they would hear children's giggles even though they didn't yet have a child. Things would be placed in one place, it would be moving to a different place. They'd get up and all the cabinet doors would be all open, but like nobody went down there for anything. And she said like it didn't happen every night, it wasn't a continuous thing, but throughout the 9 months of that pregnancy, strange things were happening around the place. And so she said that her and her husband played it as like, maybe it's like their baby's spirit just like playing around and like enjoying its new environment or something strange like that. But regardless, that was what happened during those 9 months. Now 9 months later, she gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. And that's when things started to get a little bit strange around her daughter. Now she named her daughter Lauren. And in Lauren's nursery, she would continuously place this baby monitor inside of it. Obviously, everybody has baby monitors, Hailey. But during the night at particular hours, she would hear voices in the baby monitor and it wouldn't make sense. And it actually got to the point where they went to return the baby monitor in order to tell them like, this is strange, it's crackling, it's getting weird connections. They purchased a new baby monitor. When they brought that baby monitor home, they set it up in the bedroom. The next night, they would hear the voices again. But the strange thing about these voices and this voice that would appear in the baby monitor was that it wasn't the voice of any adults, it was the voice of a child. And she couldn't make out whether it were a boy or a girl, but she could just hear this child's voice. And occasionally she would hear the child's giggle. Now the interesting thing about this is she claims that it was the exact same giggle that they would hear the minute she got pregnant with her daughter Lauren. So now this is where things get super, super creepy. So the baby monitor thing continued until they no longer used a baby monitor in her room anymore. They didn't think too much of it. They thought maybe there was like a guardian angel around her or something like that, but they were not prepared for what was to come when Lauren turned 5. Now she said when Lauren turned about 4 or 5, she was extremely drawn to outside. She was really drawn to the outdoors. She just loved it. And it was really odd because they would notice that she would always hover around this like outdoor cellar. I'll insert a picture of like how she described it to me here. But Lauren was always hovering around this and she was talking away to somebody. And she wouldn't stop talking to this person all the time. And whenever they would question her about who Lauren was talking to, Lauren would tell them that she was talking to the little boy locked in the cellar. And she was convinced that there was a little boy locked in the cellar. And they would go as far as to open up the cellar and show her that there was no little boy in there. And she would just continue to argue that yes, there was a little boy in there, that he talked to her and things like that. So they just assumed that she had gained this invisible friend. They weren't thinking much of it. Until one day they were sitting around their kitchen table and I guess Lauren basically brought up asking why the little boy's mommy would lock him in there. Now this raised a red flag for them because they couldn't understand who she was talking about until they realized she was talking about this little boy that she was continuously talking to through the cellar. So they really started to quiz her and they were like, Lauren, what are you talking about? And she said his mommy and daddy locked him in there and never took him out. And now they're getting really concerned because this is not normal conversation for a 5-year-old. This isn't the typical invisible friend. You don't come up with tragic deaths and situations of it. So she starts to piece together, hold on. The minute I got pregnant with Lauren, things started happening. Lauren's baby monitor was always crackling. And now that she's old enough to go play on her own and speak, she's talking to a little boy who apparently was locked in this cold cellar and never let out. So she ended up calling a paranormal team that consisted of a psychic and a couple of people who had like EVP things and things to monitor the house and kind of get vibes and stuff. And you guys, she says that the minute they got there, the first thing they wanted to do was take a walk around the house. Now they hadn't told these people anything specific other than that their daughter appears to be communicating with something and it seems to have been there since she got pregnant. So they take a walk around the house and they're basically like seeing if they sense anything on all of their equipment and the psychic's trying to get vibes. And I guess, oh my God, they walked right over to that cellar outside of the house and the psychic just started panicking and she was feeling the pain and she proceeded to tell them that a little boy was locked inside of this cellar, kept there for a majority of his life, and actually died. And that this was years and years and years before before their family line ever held the house. And then she proceeded to say that it wasn't causing paranormal activity for the two of them before Lauren was born, because Lauren's presence and the presence of a child energy was what drew him to start like becoming active and stuff. Which isn't entirely uncommon. Most commonly, children ghosts will associate with other children because it's what's comfortable to them, it's what's familiar, they feel equals to them. But when she told me this, you guys, I had goosebumps. I was so chilled because this story is such a natural like progression. Like when she told me, I believed her because it wasn't this dramatic escalation to this. It was like so casual in the fact that little things were happening here and there. She started talking about this little boy and the psychic literally picked up on it when she got there without any like pre-warning of what the exact situation was. So basically, she told me that they did an entire cleansing of the space, that it wasn't an evil ghost, it wasn't a negative ghost, it was sad and dark, but it didn't mean any harm. They cleansed the space, they tried to get it to cross over, and since then, nothing strange has happened in their house. But I think what's so creepy about this is that this child, Lauren, was able to pick up on what had happened to this boy, and his family had gotten away with it according to the psychic years and years and years before. I don't know, you guys. I know it's not pure evil. I know it's nothing like that, but I found this to be really spooky and eerie and creepy, just in the sense of that Lauren's birth brought on this child who had such a dark past, and they were able to kind of, I don't know if they crossed him over, she doesn't know either, but the energy is just much lighter now. What do you guys think of this? Do you think that it's a true story? I mean, I always believe anytime any of you come and tell me your true stories because I share with you. I know people don't always believe me and I can respect that, but because I know my stories are true, I really try to always believe everybody else's stories. But like I said, this isn't my own personal experience, so I can't speak as to whether or not it's true. I just know that this is what she told me and I think it may be the truth. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Let me know what you think of what she went through. And that is basically it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video but you are not yet subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button, the Reese's Pieces, and I would absolutely love nothing more than to have you. And please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It makes my heart super happy when I see that you guys enjoy my content, and I just really genuinely appreciate it, so please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you.